Thanks for listening to our daily devotional. The devotional today is from Genesis 21 through 25. I know the Lord will find a way for me. Have you ever sung the song, I know the Lord will find a way for me? You know, it's a beautiful song. I know a lot of people that it's their favorite because it emphasizes the fact that if we follow God's way, if we walk in the light, then we know His way will be accomplished. You know, in yesterday's reading, in the book of Genesis, we began in chapter 21, going on through chapter 24, and we saw a lot of things happening. But one of the well-known events is in Genesis, the 22nd chapter, whenever Abraham offers Isaac. Now, in Hebrews 11th chapter, it points out that this is one of the acts identified by God as an act of faith. By faith, Abraham offered. And one of the things that's pointed out in the Hebrew letter is that whenever Abraham did this, he knew that God had made a promise that through Isaac, his seed would come. The seed promise would be continued. So whenever he took Isaac, laid him upon that altar that had been built, raised the knife to slay him, he was going to slay him. But he knew that some way God's purpose would come forth. The Hebrew writer says that he knew he would raise him up. In other words, God had made a promise, God had a plan, and nothing could stand in that way. You know, that's one of the trust we have in God, is we know. You know, Paul said in Philippians, the 4th chapter, verse 13, I can do all things. In verse 11, I've learned to be content. You know, God has told us that we can do the things set before Him. 1 John 5 and verse 3. This is the love of God. We keep His commandments, and His commandments aren't grievous. They're not too heavy to be borne. In other words, I can. God's will is going to go forth. The promises that we stand upon, we sing about it. Do we live it? You know, God said that I can. God said that His plans will work. And yet so many people don't seem to have that trust. Abraham did have. He was an example of faith. He took Isaac and he offered him. Might also consider Isaac, by all accounts, was at least 25 and probably older than that. Think of the faith that he had. He trusted, he had faith in God, God's will. No doubt he knew about the promise that was given to his father, but he trusted his father that he would do these things. You know, Isaac would have been a young man, Abraham an old man, and yet he had the faith, the trust to lay down on that altar himself. I look and I think of us, I think of myself. I sing that song, I know the Lord will find a way for me, and yet whenever I go down that narrow way, at times there are things that it'd be easy to try and circumvent. But God said, I need to be set for the defense of the gospel. I need to be willing to sacrifice self and exalt God. I need to be willing to make the difficult choices, knowing that living godly in Christ Jesus will bring persecution. But I need to trust that God said, I can. That all things will, as Paul said in Romans 8, work together for good. He didn't say it's going to be easy. It wasn't easy for Abraham, wasn't easy for Isaac, but they did what God said. Do I have that same trust? Do I really believe the Lord will find a way for me if I continue to walk that way? I'm thankful for the example of Abraham and Isaac, and I pray that I'm that example to others. Pray you are too. You have a good day, and believe the Lord will find a way.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this short devotional. We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you'll be notified of other devotionals that will be forthcoming. Also, we encourage you to join us online live as we stream our services at each service time. More information can be found on our website at the link below. Thank you.